So what I've got here is the ceiling joist to go onto the ribs, and I just kind of ballparked a length, so let's go see if it fits. Should be just fine. Yeah, I've just got these straight threads pretty much. And if I can push the board up with enough pressure, I should be able to leave a little mark in them. Yeah, it kind of worked. So both of these holes with the knot and that thing gotta go to the middle. Like, I gotta go this way. I gotta go this way. One. Man, that took 2 hours. So to make drilling these holes a little easier, I've looked at a variety of solutions, and we're gonna try this one tonight, the old Play-Doh. Great little imprints. Let's hope that they actually work. Like, these are hex caps, but a little longer. Yeah, it's hard to get these edge ones because it's such a tight bend. Oh, that's so much easier. So that's been my problem, is that my bolts are too short. So I'm gonna just pre-drill that a little wider. So we got another rainy, wet Saturday, so I'm back in the shop, and the plan today is to get all this other framing and furring strips in. I'm gonna do a couple boards around here and down this way, and if we're lucky, we might even get into the bed slats, but I don't want to push it. So let's get trimming some wood. Measure first. Up here like this, or down here. 6-ish, 6-ish. So much easier when it's a straight run. Then I'll do that. So what I'm trying to do here is reroute this wiring harness. I've noticed it's hard to kind of look ahead. There's always so much you don't know. But what I've discovered is the harness is thicker than this 1/2-inch birch. So it's not going to be an easy way to hide that if I'm not having cabinets running along here. So the idea is to somehow pull this foam blob out and maybe make an etch in here for this harness to live. The trick with that though is that I have this big metal partition, so I can't really pull this out that much. So I might have to get creative here. Okay, so that's not gonna work. I gotta think of a different idea. M6 bolt through an M6 washer, through a ginormous washer, and the zip tie will just go through there. Nice. So I didn't plan on doing that tonight at all, but I think it's a much better solution. I can tuck this up and put some sort of transition piece. It just feels like it's gonna be more manageable than when it's running right in the middle here. So let's go with that for now. And the only thing I'm gonna do tonight is just get this partition back on, and then I'm getting the heck out of here. Just gonna take a little break from all the woodworking and run some cables. So a spot like this is probably going to be one of the more tricky locations if I'm not going to be running it through the frame, because right up against this 1/2-inch birch is going to be my walls. So there's not a lot of wiggle room in here. That actually doesn't look too bad, but yeah, it's sort of one of the little obstacles if I'm not going to hide it in the walls of the van. Okay, so the desk area here, I'm gonna have my turbo socket, which is just the highest powered cigarette socket I could find. I'm gonna use 10 gauge wire for that. So this is not how you typically see people routing wires in their van. Usually, if you're keen, you'll put them through, the frame here, different holes, and you can drill different holes, and then you don't got any wires to deal with on the outside. But me, I don't know if I procrastinated. I was just so keen to get the low E up here, this foam stuff. And then I was so excited to get the wood on. I just kept not wanting to do the wiring. And I thought, well, it'll be fine later. And honestly, you can justify anything, but I'm going to have a great big bed garage here. Control panel will be here. And from right on the end of the bed all the way to the front here is going to be cabinets. The fridge, the sink, and the storage or whatever. So I don't even think I'm going to finish this wall. Maybe some plywood or something, but I don't think it's the end of the world if there's some wires running right behind it here. So yeah, it's an experiment. All the wiring.
Wow, that's unreal. CSA approved.
Yeah, I don't know if it will pass. The moment we've all been waiting for, time to build the bed. So the minimum height I can do with my bike is going to be 34.25. There's got to be a better way I can measure that. If I could measure 38 all the way around, how could I do that? I could do a string. String is, where did I find string? Chalk line. I'll use this. Yeah, I'll put it on one piece, the plywood, and then the other piece in the back. This might work. And then I can just measure the board and how it fits instead of guessing. Awesome. Okay, so that is the bed support done. I ended up throwing in this additional one here that I cut too short, but I just ended up drilling a new hole and throwing it there anyway for extra support. It's not going to match with this one since the walls are different, but I feel like the extra support on either side, that's not hurting anything, so we'll leave it. What else? When I was cutting the cross beams and finishing those up, I was kind of thinking like, it would actually be kind of annoying if I install those. It'd be tomorrow if I install them, because then I got to crawl under them every time I want to get in the back here. And I still got the whole rest of the van to work on, so I might just fit them, and then I'll even cut the plywood platform for the bed. But I'm not going to drill anything in yet, because that would just be a hassle. Climbing in the back of the van every time and crawling under this. So yeah, looking ahead is kind of the name of the game. It's tough to do. But you learn something new every day, and That was enough learning for one day, I think. Okay, so if I don't do the bed tomorrow, what am I gonna get into? I guess I was so gung-ho to do the bed because I wanted to get the garage area done so that I could start on the electrical. But I really don't need to have the bed platform in there. As long as I have those slats in there that I did today, the pillars that hold it up, then I can start drilling stuff to them, like all the electrical stuff, like the DC box and the inverter and the chargers. So I can definitely get started on the electrical. And what about the front? There's cupboards. I feel like that might be jumping the gun a little bit. But what else? There's the ceiling. Ceiling would be nice to do because if I get the ceiling in and then get the puck lights in, then I can hook everything up to my batteries and actually have lights in here without needing to plug into a wall. Ceiling. Yeah, that could be something to do. Problem is, I don't even know what I want to do for the ceiling. A lot of people use the tongue and groove, like the pine tongue and groove. I don't hate it, but the one thing that kind of makes me paranoid is that it's like semi-permanent. All those tongues and grooves clicking together, and then you'd probably air nail it a little bit. And then you have a leak in the ceiling, or you got to get into the ceiling to change some sort of wire. Like, who knows, right? So I don't love that idea of having a ceiling that's a big hassle to take apart or take down. So yeah, I've seen some people do like everything on a sheet of plywood, you know, like a slat design or something. That could work. And it'd be lighter too. And then you can just drill the whole thing and lift it down if you ever need to get up there. So that's an option. And I mean, I still feel like there's a million things to do.